Well, Chris Pronger needs no introduction. 1,167 NHL games, Stanley Cup winner with the Anaheim Ducks. Now in South Florida, and the Panthers front office joins us today on video chat. Chris, g'day. How are you, my friend?
Doing great, thank you.
This is very exciting to have you on the program. I appreciate it. We don't get Hockey Hall of Famers often, so thanks for the time. The nation went abuzz this morning with the notifications that NHL training camps set to open July 10th. Were you aware that this news was coming, A? And B, what's your reaction to some pretty exciting news here?
Well, I think it's exciting for the league, exciting for the players to actually get back doing what they want to be doing. And number one, finish the season. Number two, get back to work. And number three, get out there and entertain the fans. Unfortunately, it'll only be on TV, but as it looks right now. But, I think we're all clamoring for sports on television. And I know there's a lot of fans that are excited for us to get back and for the league to get back playing. So hopefully there's no kinks in the road and we're able to have a smooth sailing towards not only training back camp, but through training camp and then into the start of this playoff season.
There's certainly a lot of potential pitfalls, but I'm with you. It looks positive. Fingers crossed. But you know what? Other than NFL players that we've had on from South Florida, we haven't had a lot of hockey guys. I got to ask you this. The last 90 days, what's it been like in that populous, dense area where you are to stay safe and avoid COVID as much as you could?
Well, a lot of guys went back home to their hometowns, whether it be in Europe or Canada, prior to the lockdown. It's you're not really doing a whole lot. You're not getting out and about and mingling with people and things of that nature. So you're pretty well staying within your little bubble of where you live, and obviously go to the grocery store and small errands like that. But it's been pretty quiet. Not a lot of action.
I got to, for those, by the way, if you follow Chris on Instagram, it's a highly entertaining Instagram feed. I can tell how you've stayed busy and entertained. It's kibitzing with your family and clowning around. So I got to say this, but you're obviously close with that Panthers hockey ops department. I mean, you're one of them. Give me a case why the Panthers will win the Stanley Cup.
Well, I think we were just starting to kind of find our rhythm. Coach Q has been preaching, certain edicts and ways to play the game and trying to mold and change certain players to fit into the system to a certain extent. And, I think Sergei Bobrovsky, our starting goalie, was just starting to kind of, I think, feel at ease with the defense core, the way we play defense. And, I think we're looking for big things from him come playoff time, which hopefully will be sometime here in early to mid-August. And, I think that's the beauty of the playoffs. If Bob can get hot, we can get some timely goal scoring. That hasn't been a problem for us the last few years, really. It's just a matter of playing well defensively, sticking to our game plan, which sometimes I think we've had a tendency to kind of get out of. And really just continue to build on the way we're finishing towards the end of the season. It's not going to be easy by any stretch because of the long layoff, and everybody's in the same boat. So hopefully Bob can get off to a great start, and we can kind of put the hammer down after that and jump on some teams as we go through.
Well, the key is you've got a ticket. You're in the dance. As you know more than anybody, that's the main thing. And by the way, your title is Senior Advisor of Hockey Operations. So you've gone deep in so many Stanley Cup playoffs. You've won it. And then you got Q, as you mentioned. I've seen the pundits say how important coaching will be in this specific tournament. Do you agree with that? And if so, why will it be so important?
Well, I think, absolutely. I think to get the players prepared, and to figure out what to focus on throughout the training camp, and then to make sure you're ready to go coming out of training camp, because there's no warm-up games. You're going right into action. So it's going to be vitally important that guys are prepared, guys are ready. I think Coach Q is great at making adjustments, and I think understanding how short a window we're going to have in in this round, we're going to need to be able to make the adjustments if needed, and really try to get off to a quick start and get the jump on the Islanders when we do get playing.
I got to ask you this, because you're with the Panthers buried down there in South Florida, we never really see you guys in Canada unless people have NHL center ice. It's the truth. You laugh, but unless you make a swing through where we are situated in what I call the Bermuda Triangle of the NHL. We're right between Winnipeg, Calgary, and Edmonton. So if you're playing one of those teams, we'll see you guys. But even that's not often. So, Mike, what I'm getting at is, what's the most underrated part of you guys' game that people don't see and that you think you should get more credit for?
Well, scoring goals is not a problem for us. I think we've got, when you look at the likes of Noel Acciari, who has almost 20 goals, you got Sasha Barkov, Jonathan Huberdeau, Mike Hoffman, Evgeny Dadonov, Frankie Vetrano. You start going through the list, and scoring goals is not our problem. And really, I think for us, it's just sticking with, and I always go back to it, and it's a cliche, but sticking with our system. Whether it's in the first period or the start of the third period, understanding how game management is so vitally important in the playoffs. Scoring, in the last minute of periods and the end of games, not allowing a goal in the last minute of games, not allowing a goal after you score. And there's all these little things that we've struggled with at times. And I think for us to really be effective and have any success in these playoffs, those are the little details and the little things that we need to really shore up.
I got to ask you about your opponent, the Islanders. Caught them in Vegas, and they were shut out 2-0 by the Golden Knights, and 18,000 people got free donuts that night from Krispy Kreme because of the donut. It's rare the Islanders are shut out. Right? Eberle, Barzal, they got some firepower too, and special teams will probably be big in a series like this. So, A, my question is your thoughts on your opponent, and B, how your special teams were in the regular season, and do you expect that to carry over into the postseason?
We've had since I've been in Florida the last 3 years, we've had a very good power play, and scoring on the power play hasn't been too much of an issue. Our penalty kill has gotten a little bit better. I think we can still shore that up a little bit. I think really for our power play, it's really just about being willing to sacrifice and block shots and close lanes and have good sticks and all the little things that Coach Q preaches. We need to be able to do them and do them at a high level consistently. At times we do them, and I think that's kind of been our knock over the years I've been in Florida is consistency in certain facets of the game is not there. Everybody wants to score goals and everybody likes to score goals, and you get a lot of notoriety with that. But protecting leads, playing defense, it's not sexy, but it wins a lot of hockey games, and certainly in the playoffs it does as well.
Offense sells tickets. Defense wins championships. Doesn't matter the sport. It's generally what it is. Some fun questions, Chris, before I let you go. One from our producer, Clark. He wants to know, curious to hear about growing up with your brother, Sean, and how competitive that house was back in the day.
Ooh. There was a lot of battles, a lot of fighting. The Prong boys fought an awful lot, whether it was the road hockey games, the outdoor rink games, practices. We used to, every Saturday night, we'd watch Hockey Night in Canada in our basement, and at intermission or at commercial breaks, we'd flip a ball in the corner and we'd go charging in there with our helmets on and our shoulder pads on, and whoever came out with the ball was had bragging rights. So it was a lot of fun, and certainly I think a lot of the physicality that I play with was built down in our basement with my brother.
and the one for me is from Dryden, Ontario. You've played in cold climates, you've played in hot climates, you won a Stanley Cup in a hot climate. Whenever guys talk about guys that want to play in Canada because of the chutzpah of playing in Canada, right? I always thought you didn't strike me as that guy. You like the sun. I watch your Instagram now. It's like, life's great. Down in South Florida, you're working in the NHL. Obviously, you are a hot weather guy. If you had a choice between the rampant pressure of Canada, Canadian market, versus where you're at, you've kind of made your choice. Am I right? You like being down there?
No, I think with my body and with the injuries I've had over the course of my career, the warm weather makes the joints feel a lot better. And I think for me, if I had played I played the 1 year in Edmonton and had a great time, and we had a fantastic group of guys and a great team. Unfortunate outcome against Carolina in Game 7, but certainly growing up in Canada, I enjoyed the cold winters and the games of road hockey and the big snow banks and using them as boards and hitting each other and having the big puffy mitts to fight with. But it was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed my time growing up in Canada and wouldn't change it for anything.
Well, you have the best of both worlds. I don't think they sell those mitts anymore, by the way. They worked for boxing. They worked for road hockey. They need to bring those back, now that I think about it. But what you're saying is, I guess if the right opportunity happened with the right team, you'd come back. But, you see Johnny Tavares go to the Leafs, and I don't think he regrets that. But then you got Drew Doughty going, not interested. So it's an interesting topic. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he also got a nice contract, too.
True. Yeah, exactly. Money talks. Right.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Exactly. Well, he won 2 cups there, so.
Yeah, that's true, too. Yeah, life is good. He'll probably never leave. Do you have time for one more?
Yeah.
Question. Our producer, Clark, just wants to know your thoughts on playing for the Hartford Whalers and being drafted by Berkey. What do you remember about those days?
Big Berkey. It was, it was an interesting draft in the fact that there was so much intrigue going into it about who was going to take who. Obviously, we knew Dag was going to Ottawa. But then after that, with San Jose having the second pick, I knew they told me they weren't going to take me with the second pick. And I knew that they really liked Victor Kozlov, who they did get with the 6th pick. He was originally, him and Dag were supposed to go 1, 2, possibly going to be the first pick overall. And they spent a lot of time and effort scouting him. And I think they had kind of locked in on him fairly early on. And, that was kind of their guy. And they knew that he kind of slipped in the draft a little bit, and they were able to add some pieces and get the player that they wanted and coveted. So at the draft, I'm sitting in my seat with the draft about to start, and my agent tells me to come down to the draft floor. And I see Berkey there, and I'm talking to him. He's like, "Hey, Chris, we're about to trade for you. Will you come to Hartford?" I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Yeah, you draft me, I'll come." So he made the trade and, traded a few draft picks and got Makarov, and then traded Makarov and a few picks to get to move up from 6 to 2. And San Jose got some players and the pick that they wanted, and Hartford got me.
It all worked out. It all worked out, as it always does. Chris, thanks for this. This has been a riot. A long time waiting to be able to chat with you. I appreciate it. Good luck in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and hope we can do it again soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Chris Pronger of the Florida Panthers joining us from South Florida as we all get ready for the Stanley Cup playoffs. And it's funny, people writing in about John in Winnipeg's watching. He says he enjoyed the cold weather. Wowzers, not me. Spoken like a guy, Pronger, that has the choice between the two.
Yeah, he did. He was very quick and wanted to make sure, no.
I don't hate Canada.
I don't want to not come back. But he also didn't say that he hated South Florida. He's enjoying it.
Wait till you go there when we go there in the fall with our sports trip, and you'll get what I'm talking about and why he stayed. But I know we got a break, and Mike Brennan will be in, the CEO of Great Western. But I'll just say this. My mom always said, because we talked about this stuff all the time, she's like, I would miss the 4 seasons. I'd never want to leave. I love snow. I love spring. I love fall. And I'm like, not me. If I never see another snowflake for the rest of my life, I'm good. My mom's not the only person that would say that. There's a lot of people that like snow. I'm just not one of them. You?
Fair. You know what? I do love snow, but I'd be okay.
You can have it.
Taking a plane trip to Whistler or somewhere for a ski trip, or home for Christmas to be in the snow, and then right back to the sun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're watching Rod Pedersen on demand. For more of the Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.